West Virginia is this ordinary place with people doing extraordinary things. We are truly a group of people that are just celebrating our heritage, that Appalachian culture, and you feel that every single day when you live here.
I can't imagine living anywhere else. I was born and raised in West Virginia. I've made it my home, my career, wanted to stay here all my life. I've ventured out a few times, but always managed to find my way back home. I believe that the future for U-Haul is very bright in West Virginia. I've dedicated the last 38 years of my life to making sure that U-Haul is going to prosper in the state.
Living in West Virginia, I think, is a gift. It's a wonderful place with wonderful people. There's beauty around you, and I love people's ability to pick themselves up and move on, even in the face of difficult times.
Coal was the major driving force of the economy in West Virginia, all the way back to the early 1900s. And throughout the years, we have seen a decline in coal-producing jobs through modernization and also declining sales of coal, especially in the 80s. So many people were relocating to North Carolina and different areas.
West Virginia's history is steeped in natural resource extraction, coal, oil, gas, timber. So we have to honor that history while we have to also simultaneously look to the future. West Virginia is losing population, and as that happens, more and more buildings will go empty, more and more houses will go empty. And if we want to reinvent ourselves and if we want to pivot and find our strengths and build off of those, then I think that it's going to be in the infrastructure that we currently have.
So there's been a huge shift from coal industry into tourism. Everybody's embracing that, and we're learning how to now create an economy based on tourism.
The economy in West Virginia is changing, and Natural Capital Investment Fund and the Conservation Fund is a part of that transition.
The Conservation Fund is our tree planting partner here in the United States. They're America's #1 conservation charity in the U.S. The Conservation Fund has worked for a number of years in West Virginia through their partner, the Natural Capital Investment Fund. They provide support and small loans to small businesses within the ecotourism industry. Any customer can go into a U-Haul store when they're sharing a truck or trailer. They'll have an opportunity at checkout to donate to the Conservation Fund. It'll be right there on the payment terminal as they're going through the screens. You'll see a screen that says Donate to Protect the Planet. They'll have an option to donate either $3, $5, or $10 to the Conservation Fund. If they choose to donate, 100% of those funds will be forwarded to the Conservation Fund towards projects in West Virginia and throughout the United States.
Funding for U-Haul is going to provide the critical resources that we need to provide this technical assistance and business advising, to grow the entrepreneurial spirit in West Virginia, to build on the fantastic foundation that we already have here, and really taking West Virginia into the future and into that new economy.
More than 2 million customers have opted to donate at checkout in our stores, and we have forwarded 100% of those donations to the Conservation Fund. The experts at the Conservation Fund determine what need exists across the U.S., and then they determine which projects will serve that need.
So some examples of projects that we've been working on in West Virginia. On the west side of Charleston, our capital city, in a small historic district called Elk City, and working with an emerging developer there, Ty Bullock, to really catalyze redevelopment in that historic neighborhood.
I believe that finding these old buildings that have history and they have character, and if we can breathe new life into a 100-year-old building and preserve it for another 100 years, then we've created a true historic building that will hopefully in the future be saved and continue to have new chapters in it and not be torn down. One thing I really appreciate about working with NCIF is they are willing to be creative and to work with people on what they do and what we do. And for me, it's made all the world.
We're also working with Capital Market in Charleston. We are providing technical assistance to them to think about the future of that organization and how they can work with more partners across the state.
So Capital Market is a 501c3 public market located here in downtown Charleston. There's 9 indoor businesses, and then we have farmers who are represented of 35 different West Virginia counties, so you can find pretty much anything and everything that you'd like.
For JQ Dickinson Saltworks, who I've been interacting with for a long time and had many conversations with co-founder Nancy about how to grow that business, we are providing financing for just that.
So we produce about 20,000 pounds of salt a year that's solar evaporated and hand harvested. Pursued capital from NCIF because as we were growing the business, we needed a new building for processing the salt and knew we'd needed a loan. So we worked with NCIF and it really made the lending process much easier.
Another example of our clean energy work is our work with the Opossum Creek Retreat, who also implemented solar at their lodging property.
We have a lodging property. I designed and built these cabins to support the tourism industry around the national park system. NCIF has been a really good partner to have in the area. The solar system was the first time we were able to take advantage of their funding. They've been an integral part of helping our community and West Virginia, Appalachia in general with unique projects, I would say, that bank funding is just not going to help out with.
And the Harvey Street Church project is a part of our redevelopment initiative, and we are taking a historic building that was run down, but an inspiration to the Howards, and helping them think about what that building could be and the services that it could provide to the community, as well as visitors to the community in that gateway area.
The building we're in is an old Presbyterian church. It was actually built in 1915, so it's 105 years old. It was planned to be demolished, and Vicki and I said, well, we couldn't allow that to happen. So we bought the church this summer and started a demolition, cleaning everything out. The plan for the building is to develop it into a co-working space as well as a couple of Class A office spaces.
One of our volunteers that was working one day said to me, he said, sometimes when you restore a place, you restore a soul. And I just loved that thought, and I've hung on to it, and I think that'll be maybe the purpose of doing this, that the people that work on it will actually be renewed.
As the small towns across the country, but here especially in West Virginia, think about revitalizing their downtowns and reusing what they already have. They are really reflecting back to the culture and the character of what West Virginia is. And these become unique destinations for not just tourists, but new families and businesses that want to relocate. And so adaptive reuse of buildings or revitalization of downtowns is just a demonstration of that investment to rebuild the pride that we have for these small towns. And that's reflected in how these buildings can continue to be used as beacons of the past, but then also pointing us in the direction for the future.
Well, I'd like to give a big thanks to all of our customers who have donated to the Conservation Fund, because without their efforts, the Conservation Fund and U-Haul could not have this great partnership, and hopefully they will see where their funds that they've donated are being spent and support their efforts along with ours on improving the environment and leaving this world a better place for the next generations to come.